Guys, have you ever seen a spaceship explode before? Because I haven't. Now, let's take a look at what happens when an unmanned spaceship explodes. Okay, this is okay. Well, okay, yes, the Challenger. Okay, that's a fair. Now I look like a fucking evil person. God damn. Yes, the Tesla spaceship had no one inside. It's unmanned. But let's take a look. So you have 3 different camera views. Hopefully no one was down at the ground. Is that because it missed the platform? What happened here? Or was it just descending too fast? Oh yeah, it looks like it might have been going too fast. Oh, RevoltRise, do you want to Revolt? Do you want to come on and talk about rockets exploding? I would love to. Revolt, I don't know how it is that, like, every time I have a story that you specifically have expertise on, you somehow manage to be in chat before I talk about it. I would love to talk with you about what happened here. The universe directed me here. Well, we're very thankful for your handsome and good takes, okay? Welcome, Raiders! We're just watching a spaceship explode. Unmanned spaceship. Welcome, Raiders. My name is, there we go. My name is Jack. I talk about socialism and how to make the world a better place, and basically, try and advocate for making the world into a thing that's a little bit less bad than it is right now. Housing for the homeless, food for people who are starving, stuff like that. Thank you for the Santas and the Christmas trees. I appreciate it. I'm on the clock, but if you will accept a voice call only because my cam is tied to me being clocked in, I can surely come chat. Yeah, we can talk via voice. Absolutely. I would love that. We're about to have a chat with my mod RevoltRise, who is an engineer who apparently has gone over the data from SpaceX and this explosion. Let's see. That idea was applied on my country of Argentina. Now we are winning $90 at a month. Well, again, the idea of socialism is to make sure that everyone has, that workers have control over the means of production. I'm not sure if that's the case in Argentina. We won't get to see, it's true, we won't get to see RevoltRise's beautiful face, but we'll get to hear his beautiful ideas, okay? RevoltRise, where are you? There you are. Alright. OMG, streamers can be really stupid. I've been sharing links about felony charges against streamers. 2 of the 15 I messaged didn't give 2 shits. One person who was playing a movie actually blocked me, haha. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to care until it actually gets passed, you know? I specifically talk about, like, politics on my channel, so, like, talking about the potential for streamers to be, become felons for streaming copyrighted content. That's something I felt was necessary to cover. In the case of my Cuban friend too, it started like that, but eventually went from workers to state. Well, yeah, but I don't support ownership over the means of production. I support worker ownership over the means of production, and I think those are two very different things. All right. Hello.
Yay, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. How are you doing today? Excuse me as I choke as I just got on the call.
It's all good. How are you doing aside from the choking? I haven't.
Aside from that, pretty good. Yeah, we were having like we were going over some of the data from the SpaceX launch today that we got from another friend of ours that kind of does what I do and moonlights across both places. But we were busting his balls pretty heavily because he's just a fanboy for the work that they do there, and I don't know, it's fun to make fun of Elon Musk failing at things, I think.
So like what happened?
So okay, so basically, like as the this is part of the plan for today, as the space vehicle was coming back down, like they wanted it to be sideways, and they were basically testing like the range of control that they had.
Hmm.
But what you can see happening is like if you notice that there's like a bright green flame. And basically what that's telling us is that there's something is
Yeah.
wrong in the burn mixture there. What the speculation is that we had one engine when there were supposed to be two engines on, and
Okay.
SpaceX hasn't confirmed or denied that yet. But basically, what it looks like is that there was a rupture in the fueling to one of the engines, which causes an overpressure in the other engine, and you end up with this really rich burn condition. You can see there's a ton of smoke in some of the pictures,
Yeah.
and like that thick black smoke and that green flame that you're seeing is a condition that you're seeing because the fuel mixture is wrong, basically. So it wasn't making enough thrust to slow itself down. And basically what we're debating is like, was that part of the plan? Like, were they trying to solve it and overstressed a single engine, or were they supposed to be using multiple engines during this, and we had one engine fail to fire? And I think that, in my opinion, what they had was a failure to fire.
Okay. So the speculation is that they were purposely putting it down sideways.
Yes, exactly. Like so, basically, like as the vehicle was coming back down, they were using using thrust vectoring, and also you'll notice that on other SpaceX missions, you've seen that there's these big wings basically that pop out the side.
Hmm.
They're made out of titanium. They call them like titanium like grid fins. And so what they were doing today was essentially testing how much aerodynamic control they were able uh, to have with just engines and without using other like supplementary either wings or attachments or whatever. So they were testing how much range and how much thrust that they could get from a full deflection of the engine in one direction or another. So
Okay.
that was part of the test. The only thing that wasn't a part was the landing.
Okay. So they weren't but I guess they were at least on guard for something like this to happen. It's just that the engine failure caused it to explode.
Yeah, more or less. For whatever it was that happened, obviously it was coming down way too fast, and once that became obvious, you can see that they've asked for like we can only see partial data. Basically, the data
Right.
that we have is stuff that's stolen. So
Ooh.
like there's more to the story, but like not it. It's public information at this point because it's all broadcast from their telemetry at the time, and like
Hmm.
that's how it's captured. But
Gotcha.
like point being is that like something went wrong and about 3 seconds before it hit the ground, and they realized something was wrong, and they instantly asked for a lot more pressure, and they asked for both engines to come online, and they never did see the second one fire up. So
Gotcha.
it was coming down so fast. The questions was it a failure that caused the engine not to come online, or was it a failure previously that needed a second engine to come online? You know what I mean? Like which part of
Yeah.
that was the plan?
Huh. So would this be a test that they're doing largely to see how much they can kind of strip down these rockets to cut
A
costs?
hundred, 100% that. They're also testing the longevity of the rockets, but these are new engines that they're using in this thing, and I say new, but there's like a Russian design that they've stolen and they've co-opted into making their own. But like basically, what they were trying to do is see, like do a limits test. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How much can an engine sustain, and how much like durability is available. They thought they were going to have a safety envelope using two engines, and they only got one for some reason. So
Gotcha.
that's whether that was part of the test to test if they could run off of a backup fuel system. See, like one of the theories going is that they were testing to see if one engine's fuel system was strong enough to power two engines. The other theory is that there was a failure that caused them to be try to run both engines off of one fueling system, and that's kind of what remains to be seen.
Okay. So even though this like exploded catastrophically, like they probably got good data out of it that they can
Oh,
use for
this
other
is
rockets.
I mean, you never want them to explode catastrophically when people are watching, but
Yeah.
like the engineers
Yeah.
for sure want them to explode catastrophically because it's going to happen sooner or later. It's much better when there's no people on it when it does,
True.
you know?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the time being, yeah, when you've got I think this is actually like the fourth one that they've blown up of these too. They
Okay.
blew up one when they were testing the tanks. See, one of the things that you might not realize, and I've said this before, but like rocket science is really just like fancy plumbing. And so, like, there's not a whole lot to it. But the thing about it is it's really lightweight fancy plumbing.
Uh-huh.
And so the most important factor is always how do you save every conceivable ounce of weight off of the structure? And one of the ways that you do that is like you have like a soft pressure tank that holds the fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And so by having a soft tank, like without having to have rigidity, you can take most of the material out of it and make it really lightweight. But it's exactly strong enough to hold that much pressure for the exact amount of time and the exact temperatures and when everything's exactly right. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
window of how much variation it will accept is very small. So they were doing a pressure test on their tank and blew one up on the pad a couple months back. The very first all aluminum, or all stainless steel shiny rocket that they built. And then there was another one that failed doing a standard engine test. They had it at an explosion too. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there was a fourth one. So I think this was their fourth shiny silver rocket, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
So was this something they sent up specifically to bring down as like part of this test, or was it like where
Yeah.
is this like a functional rocket that was delivering stuff to space first?
Nope. This was just a single. This was literally just a test hop. They were
Okay.
going 12 and a half kilometers was, if I'm not mistaken, was the target. And they hit exactly that. And the other thing that was really neat too is like normally you only get so many tests. Tests are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then like obviously stuff like this happens. And there's a lot of like, social goodwill and clout and stuff that goes along with this. Like when something goes wrong, everybody looks at you like you're an idiot, and that's bad. And that's bad for stock prices.
Yeah.
So they try to avoid that as much as possible. But it also, just the time and everything else. Like, so you try to fit as many experiments into as much, you know what I mean, as few tests as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they were testing a bunch of things on this test. Just that publicly mentioned, and like going through like some of the data that's out there and information that's out there from articles and press conferences and stuff, we know that they were testing at least, like, they're testing the engines, they're testing fuel system stuff, they're testing guidance, and they were testing in recovery. And again, like what they're doing here is very cool. Like it's very unique. They're one of the only. I think SpaceX was the first to recover any part of a space launch vehicle with using only rocket thrust and not parachutes or anything else. So,
Mm-hmm.
like by keeping the systems cheap and as reusable as possible, like that's like makes a huge difference in their cost. And they've been shooting stuff up for the CIA since like last year, just about once a week almost. It's actually incredible how many launches they've been able to do.
Wow.
But yeah, this is their Mars vehicle, or like essentially this is going to be their big daddy, take all the big stuff into space vehicle. So it's using new bigger engines than they've used before, and you can see like its physical appearance is got that reflective stainless steel on the outside, and that's actually received a lot of criticism because you try to save every ounce of weight as possible. And so they were basically saying like, no, our engines have so much power that we don't need to worry about that. We can make it out of the cheaper, easier to work with material and save money that way. But not when you blow them up.
So like what I guess are there any advantages to what SpaceX does versus like what NASA could do?
So
Yeah.
SpaceX is like what SpaceX is doing is nothing new. It's literally nothing new in almost every sense of the idea because they're actually using a lot of NASA technology almost verbatim. Like that's basically stolen from NASA programs. But what they've figured out how to do is get the costs of the recycled operation of the actual day to day launch of these rockets and to bring a payload into space down by improving efficiency, just like similar to what Elon was trying to do with Tesla and in the manufacturing operation. They've just figured out how to recycle all the right pieces, put all the right, spend money on all the important bits and ignore everything else. And so like that's what they've figured out how to do. They figured out how to make the Model T, the Henry Ford Model T out of space rockets.
That's pretty interesting. Is so but you started out the conversation that like you like making fun of like SpaceX and Tesla, Elon
Yeah,
Musk.
yeah.
So like what's the downside?
The downside is you just it's like you hate Jared Leto because he was a supermodel and a movie star and a rock star, and you can't be all three. Like honestly, I think that SpaceX does a lot of good things, a lot more good things than they do bad things. The
Hmm.
criticisms come from the technology that they're using is boring. Like really, honestly, that's like the biggest criticism of SpaceX is that they're boring. And like nothing that they're doing is revolutionary. They're not trying anything risky or outside the box. They're just figuring out a way to make the assembly line crank these things out as fast as possible and keep the money down. And that's they've been enormously successful at that. They've taken over as the primary launcher of Defense Department stuff. So like that's something. And Starlink is I think even though it obscures the night sky with essentially space trash that has yet to fall into the atmosphere, it's on its way. Is going to be revolutionary. I think by the time it scales out.
Okay. So like what what would be interesting to you for space companies or space the government agencies to do?
What's interesting to me, if you look at, there's other companies in the space, like Firefly comes to mind,
Hmm.
that are doing like really unique things as far as the engineering is concerned. They're doing things like using carbon fiber to construct their tanks out of there. They've got new engine designs with new style of fuel injectors that don't just spray the fuel around in a kind of semi-random pattern. They actually use like calculated turbulence. Yeah, exactly. So like they've got a lot of really cool technology, stuff that hasn't necessarily been proven yet. And like what they're thinking about doing with their Gamma program is incredible. And they're targeting like bringing up a different class of um, what they're trying to do with their rockets is very similar, but instead of taking up giant payloads, they're working on doing really small payloads, and they've got small reusable rockets that'll allow multiple people to put, like if we're working on a satellite and somebody else has a satellite, we'll share the cost of the ride
Hmm.
versus doing one big package at a time. So I mean, it's just a little bit different variation. They're using more creative technology though. Like these guys at SpaceX are worried about getting the cost of every single one down to the lowest possible number versus trying to do new and exciting stuff.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, they like a lot of these designs look really interesting. Like the yeah, like the alpha looks neat, the
Yeah,
beta,
and
the
so and
gamma.
if you go and take a look, they've got a video of them lighting off their proprietary rocket design. It's one of the first times that they've ever used like what's called like it's a mixed. Oh crap, I forgot. Now that I'm saying it in front of an audience, I forgot what it's called. But instead of using secondary small rocket motor to fire off the original rocket motor, it uses electric fuel pumps, and so it's easy for them to start and stop theirs in a way that SpaceX can't do, and that's part of what we might have seen fail today. And in fact, I think, in my professional opinion, and this is a wild ass guess, really, but like I think that what happened today is they expected two engines to be running and only one fired up because of a literal plumbing failure in between the two of them. But
Hmm.
we'll see what they come up with for a diagnosis.
Is this the oops. Is this the hot fire test that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, it might be. Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, it had a very similar looking issue.
Yeah, that green flame is a sign of bad mixture, basically.
Gotcha. Huh.
Yep. See, engine bay fire, not good. It's all plumbing.
Well, thank you so much for telling us so much about this. What I know you have a book coming out. Is that coming out pretty soon? How's
No,
that
no,
coming along?
we're looking at quarter 2 of next year still. But
Okay.
like when it comes out, I'll definitely be offering copies to everybody in chat, and we'll I'll come back on and talk about it anytime.
Yeah,
I'd
we'll have a
like to
book
talk
club.
about yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about the it's about the CIA and all the crazy dumb stuff that they've done to our politics in this country. So it ties directly into a whole lot of socialism talk.
Have you been running into a lot of problems like getting the book pushed through like the review process with them?
Yeah, my problem with that was twofold. Like number one, I have a clearance for my job,
Mm-hmm.
so like I that's adds a layer of complication. But number two is like they are not happy with me at all. So like to be talking about some of the subjects that I'm talking about. So it made it like more difficult. But fortunately, my publisher has like a pretty big like legal department, and that's like they've really earned their keep, and got like basically from being told that the whole thing needed to be redacted to like it was 68 words in total that they ended up in the final edit. So
Whoa, that's
that's it.
amazing.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Can you say what your publisher is, or is that
No,
secret?
not yet, but I will. I'll let you guys know as soon as I can. And I've also like been working with them in the past 2 weeks. We've got like 4 title options, and basically they're going to give me a decision before the end of the year. They said, and so that's like this week or next week. So I'll know what the title is going to be for sure.
Oh, you still don't know? You wait, you don't get to title it yourself?
No, no, no. The reason why is for a number of reasons, but like mainly the reason why is because of like legal ramifications. So like
Okay.
it needs to steer clear of certain things, and also they've got a marketing department that like does whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, fortunately, it's been a hell of an experience. Let me tell you. Like I've learned way more about like both the legal system and like dealing with FOIA and dealing with information from the intelligence community than I have about writing a book. But we'll see.
Was that did you write like an extra section of the book based on your experiences trying to make the book?
I think the second book should be a book about writing books.
Gosh. What is the green box on the left of the chat? Oh, I think the green box you're talking about is mod icons. I think that's the green box. I think maybe. Oh, I don't know on phone. But thank you so much, RevoltRise, for like coming on. Do you have anything you want to shout out before you hop off? Any last memes?
Nope, nope. That's it for now. Just hi to chat. Hi chat.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad to talk with you again. It's been like a couple weeks. I needed to get my fix.
Likewise. Yeah, it's good to be back. I always love speaking with you, and I love watching and listening. I'm always listening. If I'm not talking actively in chat, just know that I'm busy. But you're always on a tab somewhere.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
have good luck with the rest of your work shift until
All right.
whenever
Well,
you get off the clock.
thank you so much.
No, thank you. Good night.
See you.